physics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are back. We are back. The Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen, the greatest think tank ever invented. And we're here for another deep dive into the absurdity of the simulation. Happy that you're listening. Thanks for tuning in. And we're just going to hop right into it today because we do have a guest setting up in the background. But for now, I want to get started with this trailer that I happened to come across earlier today, actually. I don't know when this movie comes out or anything like that, but it's an A24 movie, right? So if you know anything about A24, they've made some really dope shit. You know, I've watched a lot of their films, and a lot of them were just really well made, a little bit different from what you expect. And then I stumble onto this trailer, and I said, okay, let me check this out and let me see what's going on. The name of the film is All Dirt Roads Taste of Salt. It's kind of long, and I'm not sure I get I don't really get it. So just off the top, all dirt roads taste of salt. It's like, why are you eating the dirt? All this other kind of shit. But I just want to see if my brethren here picked up on the same thing I did. I want to know what emotions this trailer influenced in you, if any. So let's just hop into this real quick.
Not too quick. Tighten it a little bit. Yeah. Slow, take your time.
And that was it for me. Right here, right here was the moment that pissed me right off. As soon as I heard, "Whoa, Lord," I was done. I was done. But that's not fair to other people's assessments. So I'll play a little bit more.
Lost me right there with her outfit.
Take your time. Now. There you go.
Okay, anything before we're almost halfway through the trailer. Anything you want to say so far?
Negro spiritual, South. Not a slave movie so far.
Not necessarily a slave movie, but not too far removed from slavery.
It feels very slavey.
Slavish, yeah.
It does, yeah.
I like slavey better. I feel like that's a cuter version.
Slavey, okay. Yeah, it makes it sound cuter, yeah.
It's a little slavey.
You want to know a secret? It doesn't end or begin.
I just want to say, I don't give a shit about this movie. I don't give a solitary shit about this movie so far. There's nothing that makes me want to watch it. There's no narrative, and maybe that's the point, right? That could be the point. Maybe you can watch a movie that's like non-linear. There's no real story to hold it all together. It's artsy. It's just a bunch of snapshots from the life of a random person. And I get it, but I don't give a damn. There's nothing I've seen in this trailer that makes me want to see this movie at all.
Just changes form.
Man tears, dirty water. I don't believe that. Okay, a riveting emotional epic that will change you. I don't think so.
Forever.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I'm calling bullshit.
I think there's some prostitutes that got a better story than this.
This shit. Oh, Raven
All dirt
Jackson.
roads taste of salt.
Yeah, that shit.
See, if
made
this
no
was like a
sense to
movie
me,
about
bro.
Fig Road, the name would be a lot better for that type of a movie.
Okay, who was that? What did it say? Raven Jackson.
Yeah. I think the Jewish equivalent of that is a black and white shot with violin music.
Right.
That's like the Jewish version of that calling card. But yeah, as soon as I heard it, I checked out at the same moment that you did.
Yeah.
And I I feel like the main takeaway is black people and suffering.
Right.
That I felt like that was the tagline.
Right.
Black suffering. Well, yeah. and I don't know if I don't like to be too conspiratorial, but it feels like the most praised artistic black films are ones that get to portray black people in suffering. It's like we always want black people's consciousness to be connected to suffering.
Right.
There was something my departed father used to say. He would say, "I was born a Jew, and I'll die a Jew." And Jews were made to suffer.
God damn.
Like it was an integral, and he didn't say it just once. And I have to imagine there's Jewish people all over the world, if they're being honest, who will attest to hearing something similar. But it's a core part of that identity, and there's something about cinema where the most praised, artistically revered films with black people always got some, yes sir, we's gonna make it, yes lordy, and I don't know, that shit feels embarrassing and insulting to me, but it's something that's been etched into the black American consciousness as like, it's like almost like the black equivalent of high fantasy old English. Like whenever they do a movie, it could be a movie set in France, it could be a movie set in ancient Rome, but whenever
Spain,
it's like,
even.
Yeah, but whenever it's some like very proper, well-to-do historical flick, no matter where it is in Europe, they always have a British accent. Always.
Right.
Even in fucking Mordor, even in fucking The Hobbit, wherever, it doesn't matter. Game of Thrones, it could be in a fantasy land. They all speak British. So so I feel like this is like what's considered the highest elite level of black artistry speak. Like America loves to make these films where black people are lordy. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I got.
Yeah.
From it. Maybe
This
I'm
shit
a racist.
right. No,
I
you're
don't know.
right. This shit right here.
It's a money maker. It makes money.
Once I hear that, I'm done. I don't give a
Emotional
shit
about it.
I don't care what about anything that you're experiencing, anything that you're going through. If this is the movie that you're trying to feed me in 2023, I don't care. I don't care. Not even a little bit. I don't freaking care. Why should I want to listen to that? Why do I want to see? It's suffer porn. It's trauma porn. And this is not, white people love making it. This is a black woman who directed this movie. Raven Jackson. Now,
Can't trust black women named Raven.
that's facts. But, I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised. If I'm going to judge a book by its cover.
Well, it's our fault. We say that we rather have, black women with natural hair, and they evolve into it and they make suffering movies.
Right. Because well, I don't want to say, but then you got like Tyler Perry too. He just does it a little bit funnier. He does it with a little bit more comedy. There's Medea dressed, he's dressed like a woman and he's talking crazy and he's making jokes and shooting at people and going to jail. But it's all the same shit. It's the woman who can't get, life won't give her a break. She's getting abused by her husband. She's getting fired from her job. She's getting kicked around and, she missed the last bus and she stepped in a puddle. Now her shoes are wet. Like anything that you can think of is happening to this woman until she meets like Shamar Moore, who's a garbage man.
Our garbage man look like that.
Yeah. Shamar Moore's a garbage man.
He sure is nice.
Yeah, he sure is nice, and he's gonna accept me and my 3 children. You know what I'm saying? He don't care about none of that because he's a real man. They're gonna plant some shit in your head to make you feel like, yeah, well, it's only gonna work on a certain group of dudes. It's not gonna work on everybody. It's only a small minority of the population that's gonna watch that and think, you know what? Maybe being a boyfriend of a single mother ain't so bad. Maybe I should take a woman who has 4 kids by 3 different men, and I'm a garbage man, and I'm gonna let her. Yeah, it works
Just
perfectly.
be a garbage man and work out. You'll find your wife.
Yeah, exactly. Just get a decent job, a job that nobody in the surrounding area actually respects. But for some reason, when a garbage man rolls up to Medea's house, they're like, "That's a good boy right there. You need to talk to him. That's a good boy right there." Everybody loves
And when
him. He high fives the little kids and shit. He brings lollipops in his pocket
It's a
and all.
government job.
Right, got insurance. I guess whatever works. You know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at
yes,
the
Miss Rosalie, I got insurance on all 5 of the children. I did.
like they was
Yeah,
my
Oh,
yeah,
he's
own.
so
yeah.
sweet.
Like they
Yeah.
was my own churns. And she's never,
And
yeah.
then you go ahead.
No, I was saying that she's never gonna. That's never gonna come up later on. That's never gonna be like you ain't my daddy, or like it's never gonna come back to bite you in the ass. It's just gonna be a perfect situation. It's gonna be absolutely beautiful. Just take that single
Perfect.
mother and marry her, bro. You're a garbage man.
And the best part is when you do this in real life and you share that good city pension and you're forking over all those paychecks to handle all of those financial demands, she's not going to be grateful at all because she watched this movie and she knows that she deserves it. So she's going to talk to you like you ain't shit because you
Right.
just doing what you're supposed to do. You're not
Exactly.
going above and beyond. There's no need for gratitude.
Damn. And that is the
You
best
did what the
part.
movie said you would do.
That's the best. You're absolutely right. That is the best part. If she won't look at you like a knight in shining armor who went above and beyond to rescue her from dire circumstances, she gonna be like, "Nigga, you a trash man." That's what she's gonna say to you, and the kids are gonna say, "You ain't my daddy." You know what I mean? So yeah, there you go. There you go.
And you know what? And I'll be honest too. This is the way I feel about it. Like there was a time in my life that I would be open to really give this story an honest ear, to really connect with an honest story and walk with the storyteller through a tale of pain and woe and be emotionally touched. But the reason I'm so emotionally detached and unwilling to let my mind go there anymore is because I've noticed at this point this has become the tip of the spear for all kinds of other propaganda. So what'll happen is we'll go from look at this black pain, look at this black suffering. You see how horrible this was? Did you get in this time machine 100 years back and did you see all this horrible shit that all these dead white folks
Aren't
did
they
to
the
all of these
same
dead
company
black people?
that was responsible for that gay movie too with the black guys that I didn't care for
Moonlight?
either? Yeah, didn't care for that one either,
Nah,
by the way.
I
I
didn't see
liked
it,
it.
but maybe
I liked it. I watched
I
Moonlight
never
and I
saw
liked
it.
it.
So I never saw it, so I can't comment on it. But what'll happen is it'll be like you see all this misery, this black misery from so far ago with dead white people and dead black people and all this horrible shit that happened all this long ago. Yeah, I see it. I feel it. Aren't you sad? Yeah, I'm sad. It's sad. You feel sad? Yeah, man, I feel sad. Daquan murdered 14 people, but we're gonna give him no cash bond. We have to. No cash bond. We don't care how many people he murdered. We don't care how many old ladies he pistol whipped. It doesn't matter. So then that becomes the sneaky vector of attack to be like, look, now we can't punish criminals. Why? Well, because they're black. You saw those black people in the movie, right? Yeah, I
Right.
saw those black people in the movie. You see how those white people treated them? I saw those white people treat them. It was horrible, right? It was horrible. It made you sad, right? It was so sad. You saw how they burned those crosses? I saw how they burned those crosses. That shit was sad as fuck. Well, that dude, Daquan, that pistol whipped that 88-year-old lady and took her purse, he's black too.
Damn it.
It's like you're making those black people in that house that suffered in that burning house, you're putting them through it all over again if you won't let this man out on bond. Is that what you want? Is that what you want, racist?
Right. Yeah, it's a trap. It's an emotion trap, and it's almost like before they were saying that white people would make these movies to like rub salt in the wound of post traumatic slave syndrome, right? Like everybody's still so reeling from slavery. And when you make a slave movie like 12 Years a Slave, oh, white folks just want to remind us they only want to show black people as slaves. But then if you make a movie like this,
take the director's chair.
right? Yeah, black people, BIPOC, put some BIPOC in the director's chair, and then what do you get? Right, but now it's for a different reason. Now it's because it's about the ineffable experiences that shape us, and love and loss and darkness, and it's Mississippi. And like, first of all, I don't give a fuck about nothing happening in Mississippi. I don't want to hear no love story from Mississippi. I don't want to hear a triumph, a hero's journey from Mississippi. If your hero's journey takes place in Mississippi, I don't care. I don't want to hear nothing about it.
I would watch it if he's moving out. If the movie ends up with him move out of Mississippi, then you got
it. Starts with a moving van.
Right.
Lamont leaves Mississippi.
That might be too much time. That might be too much time in Mississippi. The movie has to, in the opening credits, you got to be passing a leaving the city limits of Mississippi sign in your van. Like, fuck this town.
That's a better way to
that's how you start it. Because you know what? You told me everything I need to know. If you speed and breaking the speed limit, going past the city limits or whatever, leaving Mississippi, I'm like, hell yeah, bro, get out of there. And whether you white or black, it don't even have to be a black guy. If it's a white guy, that might endear me to your character even more. This guy's trying to escape Mississippi with all the energy he has right now.
I really gotta watch this movie.
I really gotta see this. Right. Everything in Mississippi is working in this guy's favor. So if he's trying to get the fuck out of there, I really need to know what you're about to go through. And then whatever you go through for the rest of the movie, I'm gonna be with you.
Yo, I'm already in.
Right. If you go to New York, and you get hustled, by some scammers, I'm gonna feel bad because this is the guy who just broke free from Mississippi.
Just left Mississippi. I feel real sad. It's like,
man,
you guys know what
this
man just went through.
Yeah, you know what he had to do to get out of there. Y'all gonna fucking scam this guy? Come on, man, that ain't right.
Look, if you've never left Mississippi, the moment that you cross state lines, you just went 85 years into the future. That's the closest you'll ever get to being in a time machine.
Yeah.
Is leaving Mississippi.
That's a fact. Yeah, Mississippi's at least 85 years in the past. And I feel like the people who there, maybe they know too. Maybe some of the people there know, and they don't want you to leave because they know if you leave, you're going to see what's really going on in the rest of the world.
It's like The Village.
Yep, there it is.
Like M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. Like, there ain't nothing out there for you. Like, the world ends in Mississippi. They teach flat Earth Mississippi.
Yeah.
And all throughout the whole school district. If you leave the state lines, you fall off the map.
Yeah, you can't have no internet. You can't see people from other countries. Like, what are these people with? Who are these people with these small eyes? You been on YouTube again?
Boy.
Fuck off YouTube. They just live on the other side of Mississippi where it's real sandy. No, we can't have that, bro. Fuck that. I'm not fucking with it. So yeah, these silly ass suffering films, trauma porn,
woke suffering movies.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say they need to stop. I'm just not gonna watch them, and I'm gonna talk shit about them. I'm not gonna care, and it would be really difficult for me to watch it. Maybe I'll force myself to watch it just to prove myself right, because I'm sure watching this. I mean, the trailer pissed me off 40 seconds in. 40 seconds in. As a matter of fact, not even 40 seconds. The singer starts at...
Dude, it was less than 10 seconds.
15 seconds in.
Listen, once I've seen Sundance and Black people, I've already got lost.
Yeah, that's you know what? You might be right. You might be right.
Once I've seen Sundance.
You might be hard pressed to find a Sundance black film that's good.
But I can't get a cyberpunk black movie.
That's what I'm saying.
On the same themes. I can't get a sci-fi thriller black movie. Whenever blackness is at the helm, the main ingredient's got to be suffering sauce.
Yep.
Or it's not truly in that high elitist black archetype of filmmaking. I don't know. I don't know who painted black artistry into that corner, but I'll take
I'll take Sun Ra Spaces the place.
Yeah, see, that's what I was about to say. Sun Ra Spaces the place. Just in case people want to know, these are black movies that I would watch today. Sun Ra Spaces the place. This man was an absolute genius. And this is the movie he was making in 1974 about transporting black people to another dimension using music. And he went through the whole movie explaining why black folks need to be somewhere else. And that's a valid point of view. And for him to depict it in the way he depicted it is completely valid. He didn't say, let's kill all these white people and take our reparations. He's like, yo, let's go to another planet, bro. That's super fair. I feel like Nick Fuentes would agree with him.
I think Nick Fuentes would help him. Nick Fuentes would help him fund the construction of whatever musical instrument he needed to make it happen.
What kind of spare parts do you need to get this teleportation
if
device set up?
If you can take the Jews with you too, I'd say yes.
Sun Ra would be like, listen, now you're asking.
No.
Now you're asking a little too much. Yeah, I'd watch
like
this.
Planet Rave. Planet Rave sound of guns, anger, frustration. There was no one to talk to from Planet Rave to understand. We set up a colony of black people here. See what they can do on the planet all their own without any white people there. They could drink and
see what they could do.
You know what I'm saying? This is a sci-fi movie. Yeah, that's initiative. I could get into that. If your movie's starting with "Whoa, Lord," I'm not watching. I don't care. You've lost me.
And by the way, Sun Ra made it to where he's showing where people are leaving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was about it. He was about it the whole time. I don't know if everybody.
That's tether talk.
Right. Yeah. Look, I'm
just saying, leaving Mississippi is a Golden Globe.
Listen, Sun Ra.
Leaving Mississippi. If that film isn't made, we gotta make it.
Yeah.
I already seen the storyboard with the moving van in the first scene.
How is that? Yeah. The first thing that comes up is a song called "I Ain't Leaving Mississippi." Well, yeah, you lost me, buddy.
Damn. Right.
You lost me.
If I leave Mississippi, where am I gonna get all my suffering for my next movie?
Right. Yeah, see, nope. Yeah, there's no Leaving Mississippi movie. There's a couple writings and shit like that. That should be a movie. And it starts just like this, passing this sign. There's got to be another one, like you are now leaving Mississippi. That's the sign we got to pass. That's the start of a good movie. But yeah, man. So how was everybody's week, bro?
It's been all right. It's been working.
Hustling.
Yeah. Yep, always got getting frustrated on Twitter on the regular, trolling and arguing with people. It's wonderful. I love that Elon Musk is getting rid of the block feature. This mechanism of cowardness will no longer abide, and I'm happy. And everybody on there that's like, now I could be like that chick Ashley St. Clair, I think her name is, that right wing chick.
Yeah.
Which I guess people, I didn't know. I guess she used to go by Sex Laptop. I guess she was an OnlyFans girl at some point or something. I don't know. Not my business. But she was like, but no, people harass me and stalk me and threaten to kill me. And yes, the internet. And they're not going to be able to find you from your post on Twitter. Like, that's not going to be the difference. Like, oh, man, if I was just able to block this dude, he wouldn't have been able to find me and murder me. Like, that's not going to be the defining difference between whether you're going to get hunted down by a lunatic or not. And you pro 2A, you'll be fine.
So him deleting the block button, to me, I feel like this is him doubling down on engagement farming. I don't want you to just be able to silence somebody from entering your headspace. I want y'all to argue. I want y'all to get mad at each other, call each other names and shit. But you got to figure out a very specific way to do it, or we'll block you anyway. So we'll make sure they can't see your communication if you say something wrong to them, but you can't block them of your own volition. That's what is kind of...
That's a great point. I didn't even think of that because they deboost people all the time.
Right.
Me and Doobie are definitely deboosted.
Right.
It's ridiculous how hard it is to see our fucking tweets.
Right. So if you can stop people, so if I make a tweet, if I go on Twitter right now and I say I have black fatigue, I am officially sick of seeing Negroes commit violence on Twitter, that tweet will get blocked from other people seeing it. And they'll tell you right when you look at it on your page, they'll say this has limited visibility. So if you can block my tweet, why can't I block the tweets of another person? Or block a person from seeing my tweets? It's just I think it's a decent question.
Yeah, no, we need to get that Illuminati apartheid brain chipping motherfucker on the line and have him answer for this. That is, I never even thought of that. Again, the shamanic brilliance is unquestionable. It makes absolutely no goddamn sense that you curate and block information seemingly arbitrarily.
Right.
Because I've seen hard R's abundantly on Twitter. I saw a meme with a man eating a foot. I see dick sucks and back shots inadvertently without any problem.
Right.
The shit that they absolutely will let you see makes it you know, and I wish our brother Scat Chef was available, but because of the audio problems, because that would be a prime example. I went to that dude's page. I don't want to say I was appalled. I'll just politely say it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I think I made it about 2 or 3 posts down, and I had to jump ship. I didn't have the stomach for it, but page shouldn't be taken down. If I don't like what I'm seeing there, I can engage somewhere else, and that's how it should be. But they should not be able to be the arbiter, brokering all the information, especially when clearly, like you said, that's the only explainable animus behind it, right? Is because you want to increase engagement, and you know what gets engagement is motherfuckers that piss you off.
Right.
And if you have a block button, you're eliminating 99% of what could be perpetual anger. That could be a perpetual motion machine of outrage farming.
Yeah, that's it.
And one more thing too. It's not even a bad thing. I think Doobie alone helped Tariq Nasheed make about $5,000.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
Because the more you post on those people's threads, you could disagree with them vehemently. But every single time you're in a back and forth to somebody's thread, all of that money is running up to Tariq. And he's never making you a museum. I just want you to know that. It's never really gonna happen. But
holy shit.
I will say,
oh my God. I'm sorry to cut you off, bro, but I have to say. So as you were
the hip hop one,
that shit was amazing.
But nothing's popping.
This is
that
amazing.
Shit is probably the most funniest, engaging tweet that nobody has yet to defeat.
This guy just said, what bank gave the loan to the company David Rossum used to create the device? If that bank got its seed money from American slavery, then FBA owns hip hop and all things. So if the bank got this money from slavery, and then they gave that money to the guy for an invention, black people own that invention. Holy, this.
They learned it from the Jews, my brother.
This is a real live. This is not a good cult that they're in.
Rewriting history.
Well, I'm not going to say it's not a good cult because they clearly have dogma. They have something to believe in. They can't be reasoned with. These are all marks of religious conviction.
I personally think they'll make a great political party. Me personally.
Yeah, but for who
their
though?
Obstinance.
Yeah.
For themselves.
Oh, okay. All right.
They'll be like, listen, we're defunding all the infrastructure. Look, listen, and here's why I try to engage them too. But they don't give a fuck for anything anybody says. Everybody's a tether or a cracker. It doesn't matter. But
I call white people cave dogs on there, and they still don't like me.
Right? How much blacker can you get?
Right.
Like I don't see any of them going to that extent that they'll say some some innocuous shit like sun dodgers. You sun dodgers. That's weak. Illiterate, unwashed cave dog is hardcore. So, but there's commonality. Like, you know how many different factions of Americans look at that Ukraine shit? If you went up to 90% of Americans right now and said, look, the $110 billion that we set aside for Ukraine, I'm going to level with you guys. We laundered the money. We got it all back. But we wanted to come clean, okay? We put it back in the coffers, all right? But now we super duper promise we're really going to send it to Ukraine this time, all right? Listen, we found who did the wrongdoing. We found who set up the phony shell companies and organizations and, you know, NGOs or whatever that filtered all of that money and funneled it back to themselves. We identified the money. We tracked it. We got it back in the American government's hands, and we're going to send it over to Ukraine so we can fight Russia for no discernible fucking reason. I guarantee you, at least 65% of Americans would be like, I would much rather you pay black people reparations than send that money back to Ukraine. I'm going to go at least 65%. I can't imagine more than 5% of black people saying, don't give me a check. There'd be a couple that would be principled like, nah, that's ridiculous. I don't need your money. But I think the majority of people would be like, absolutely. White liberals would, I mean, they would ejaculate in their pants immediately at the notion that they could get some gratitude or love for signing off on cutting black people a check. And I don't know anyone who would think, like, if we're going to waste it on a useless war in Ukraine, like, I'd rather see it go to American citizens, right? But you couldn't even broker an intelligent political alliance with these people because they're religious zealots. They're dogmatic, and you can't get through to them, and they don't even engage the argument. You could say some shit and request a response, like, hey, I've laid out a coherent point. I'm requesting a response back. You're getting a meme and a tether insult. That's the plan. You're gay, you're a tether, and here's a meme. All right, great talk, man. That was awesome. We've covered a lot of ground. And what I'm saying is, it's to their own detriment, because there's no, I've only seen a handful of people on TV. I've never met anybody in real life who seriously looked me in the eyes like, no, we need to give $110 billion to Ukraine.
Right.
We have to.
I think most of the people, not all, but most of the people who are non-black, who think black people should get reparations, I think they want to see a Negro Holocaust. That's my opinion. I think they want to see a world where you can get carjacked by a millionaire. They want to see a world where the Chicago shootings are being done with gold-plated AK-47s. This is the world you want to live in. If you want the government to just write check, just hit everybody's debit card. If you black, give them $32 million. You want overdoses. You want people to die drinking and driving. You want people to crash their cars on the bridge. Like this is, I think that's what most of the non-white people who are like, yeah, reparations. I think the top tier smartest of them are like rubbing their hands together like a Disney villain. Like, yes, give them all the money, and we'll reap all the benefits. They're going to give it all back to us. They're going to overdose on drugs. They're going to kill each other for the money. Because, I mean, you could right now, you could influence that on a small scale right now. If you want to do like a little rat utopia, just go to San Francisco and start giving people debit cards with $10,000 on it, and see if it fixes the problem or just makes the decline more rapid. Because if there's not a reparations program, if there's not, first of all, I don't think it's a good idea. Period. I would rather see, and I know this is coon talk, right? I would rather see a universal basic income than reparations for black people. I think that's going to set, it just doesn't.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I think we got somebody.
Way. Oh my God.
It worked.
I had to turn it off. and then turn it back on again. Sorry to interrupt.
It's all good. It's all good. I was just ranting about how black people shouldn't get any free money. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, I just think that I think that's a dangerous situation, especially in this country. We already have so many people with terrible ideologies and this like this deep-seated issue when it comes to race relations. Nobody really wants to fix it. They don't want to see a place where people find common ground. Now, like you said, they just believe inherently that people are evil and there's nothing you can do. So what do these people do when you give them $20 million or however much it's up to right now? What do they do? What do they do? What are the people who are not prepared to handle that kind of money? Some people will be fine. Some people are going to invest. Some people are going to buy real estate. Some people are going to be fine. But those are the people you already call coons now. The majority of people, the large groups of people who are just running around being a fucking menace to society, you think they're just going to hang it all up like, you know what? I was definitely robbing liquor stores a week ago, but now that I got this money, I think what I'm going to do is open a real estate portfolio and try to bring it all together. No, it's going to be the same shit. It's going to be worse. But, it's definitely up for conversation. I could be wrong.
The first thing that comes to my mind is that J. Rue lyric, you work so we could give the devil back his loot for jewels.
Yeah.
It's like the immediate trade-off. Because this is the thing. If you skip steps, and this happens with lottery winners all the time, you've never had huge amounts of capital. You don't know all the intermediary steps that get you to that level of capital. And once you immediately get it, you don't know what to do with it. If there's no financial education that accompanies it, you're destined, in 9 times out of 10, if you're not financially illiterate, it's gone.
Yeah.
And this isn't something we have to speculate on, and it's not something exclusive to any group of people, but you see it a lot of times in sports, because sports, and you see it in the entertainment industry a lot too, when you have rags to riches stories, right? I grew up poor, I never had nothing, I started getting money, but I wasn't able to hold on to it because I wasn't going to keep generating that revenue forever, and I didn't know any other way to create revenue streams. So I feel like if you just hand the money over, there's a short-term boost to the economy, but I don't think you fundamentally change much of anything.
Right.
A handful of people would make the best of it and improve their life, but I think statistically, those would be the same number of people that would have made something and done something anyway.
Right.
Like, if we were really serious about doing it, the most intelligent way to be to do it in tiers and in usefulness. And I think that would be a better way to sell it to the public. But what do I know? I'm a tether. But think about if you said, okay, I'll cut you a check now. You ain't got to do shit. Here's 50 grand. Beat it. Right? Or, okay, you get, based on, your SAT scores, your performance or whatever, you get a free college education, right? We'll pay for you to get, and we'll pay it at a discounted rate. So we're not dealing with the bullshit charges like, every school is getting 10 grand and you have to do it. So if you qualify to go to Harvard, we're paying you 10 grand for this admission. Go fuck yourself.
Nigga, give me my check.
Nah, but hold on. Hear me out. Hold on. Well, let's say you go and you're an engineer. Cool. We'll give you a $250,000 payout. So you're someone who's demonstrated, like, I am capable. I'm going to apply myself to a higher degree. If you give me something, I will create more of it. I will actually put it to work and do something. So I would rather see $250,000 go into the hands of somebody that's already in the mode of success and applying themselves, right? And so look, if you're not capable or you're not interested in doing shit, cool. Here's 30 grand, here's 50 grand or whatever. But if you're willing to apply yourself and do more, these opportunities are available to you. And now, instead of getting all of these foreign people for like H-1 visas or whatever, right, to come be programmers and engineers or whatever, Google and Apple do it all the time. Now, you've got a pathway for Black Americans that are owed reparations, whether you accept that premise or not, to get an education and fill those jobs if they want to. Because I think that also puts more onus. Because if the story is always, well, you've never allowed us to do anything. Okay, maybe you're right. So what we'll do is we'll pay you in proportion to the amount of effort you're willing to put forth. If you're not willing to do anything, this is all we're giving you. If you're willing to demonstrate that you're going to be a contributor to our larger society, we'll give you a lot more. And then I think it incentivizes the right behaviors and their steps. And I can almost guarantee you, if we track that study, the people that took a lump sum payout of 50 grand, that's just gone in a year or two.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you that the people that invested 4 years or 6 years or 8 years in their own development to be a doctor or lawyer, engineer, of course they're coons. Of course they're coons and tethers. But I guarantee you, they would turn that 250 grand into millions of dollars over their lifetime. And they would be much more productive and useful. But you're talking about an intelligent, a carefully crafted plan to productively disseminate this money in a way that you could sell to the larger country of why we're all going to get a benefit in return.
No, that's
right?
definitely a smarter way to spread out the money, man. But yeah, it's just like you said before, bro. The majority is gonna be like, nigga, give me my check. Compared
right,
to
but that's what I'm saying. But if you laid it out that way, you would at least give them an opportunity to tell on themselves.
Right.
Like it's always about a check. It ain't about contributing. It ain't being a productive. And you ain't fooling nobody running around having the American flag in your profile. You don't give a fuck about the state of the country or what you're doing. But they have a good point when they say, how the fuck are you going to tell us you're not going to pay us reparations and you giving 110 million or 110 billion? We're talking about 1/10 of $1 trillion to Ukraine. You can't make it make sense. But again, if you try to engage them and have that conversation, you're not getting 15 seconds into that conversation.
Right.
You're getting a meme and a tether insult, and somebody's probably going to take your profile pic, run it through a filter to make you a woman, and make a comment on your ability for fellatio.
That's going to happen way more often than anything else. But we got a special guest on the show this evening. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty earlier, but we finally got him patched in. So I definitely want to make some time to get the introduction here. You want to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Thank you. First I gotta say, I'm so grateful. One, for you waiting for me, and two, for having me on in the first place. I'm so happy to be here.
No, thank you. We appreciate you coming, man. So let everybody know who you are and any information you want to give us about yourself.
Oh man, this is the first time.
YouTube channels you want to promote? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. I've never done this before. Okay, one, this is my first appearance on the internet, so if you're listening, thanks for saying hello.
Excellent.
I'm a gourmet scat chef, but I'm cooking some shit on YouTube. So if you want to have a gander, come on down. Okay. So just so everybody is clear, he said he's a gourmet Scat Chef, and literally and figuratively cooking some shit on YouTube, which was amazing to me because I did go to your YouTube channel and I looked at it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it up on screen right now, just so everybody can see it. But this is a legit YouTube channel, and yeah, I mean, this is what's happening. So how? Yeah. How did you stumble into this? So once upon a time, I was dating this girl. She was a good girl. However, I was a bit depressed. So I was in bed all day buying lottery tickets. And then I thought to myself, what would I do if I won the lottery? And it came to me. I'd make pigskin masks and cook shit. So here I am.
That is fucking beautiful, I have to say. I can't even lie. To approach our experience in that way. What would I do if I won the lottery, right? If all my bills were paid, how would I conduct my life if I didn't have to worry about none of this other shit and then to go actually do those things? I think that's a beautiful metric on how to navigate your reality, first of all. So after you come to that conclusion, how do you start this process?
Oh, which bit?
The cooking part. Because the pig mask seems like it might be a little bit easier. Like, if I want to make pig masks. By the way, are you making those from scratch? What are this mask made of?
So I go to the butcher's and I get a pig's head.
Oh
and I remove
my
all the
God.
skin, and I pickle the skin to make sure that it doesn't have any bacteria, and then I tan the skin to preserve it forever, and then I mold it into the shape. Mold it into the shape.
Oh my God. That is amazing.
The British are just better than us. They talk better. They know more. Like I don't even know where to start with that. Like I pickle it, it can preserve it forever. That's
That's
amazing.
amazing.
Well,
Absolutely amazing.
was this something that you were into previous to that? Like, how did you get introduced to? Is it just something that really came up as a whim, or was there, a partner or somebody that like introduced you to it?
It just came to me. I was walking down the street one day, and I walked past my butcher, and I saw a pig's head just hanging in the window, and I said, "How much is that?" And he said £5. So I mean, I don't. What's £5 in
That's a
American?
steal.
Like $7?
$20.
Well, it is now.
Dollars going down.
But it's nice. It's nice and cheap. And I thought I didn't know what to do with it, so I just took it home and I just looked at it and I just took the skin off. And I had a friend at the time, and I said to him, "Hey, dude, I've got a pig's head." And he came over, and then I said, "Close your eyes." And I closed his eyes, and then I took the pig's eye out of the head and put it in his mouth. And he said, "Don't put that pig's eye in my mouth."
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. That's me.
Yeah, I'm just showing some of the videos here so our listeners and watchers can get an idea of who we talking to and what. I mean, this is real shit. That's a real deal pig mask. It reminds me of the one from Saw, because I love Saw. I love that whole series. I know they're kind of like crappy movies, but I love every one of them. I watch a marathon of them whenever I get the opportunity.
Good. I'm glad that it's bringing all these positive memories.
So I would love to know about the first time you decided to real world take the dive into scat chefing. What is that first experience like?
The first time was the weirdest time because I'd never done it before. I'm not really I'm not into eating it or like smearing or anything like that. I just want to do something that's a bit out there. I want to see. When I first had the idea, I was like, I want to do this thing. I want to cook some shit. And it was because it was strange to me. But then I thought, I don't want it to be all about me. Ideally, this would be a quid pro quo cooking show. So people will come over onto my show, and then we can cook their shit or they can cook my shit. We do the cooking shit experience. And then the next day, they'll take me into their world and I can do something weird with them because everybody's got some weird thing going on. I love the Bible, but I don't believe that there's a God in the sky watching us. I just don't. But some people do. And I feel like that's different. And I met a guy who believes in werewolves. That's different. I met a guy who likes to go rock climbing. Whatever it is, or train spotting. Just I want to be taken outside of my comfort zone. Because I want to do this for a long time. But I don't want it to be a gimmick. I want it to be like a rite of passage. So you do the weird thing with me, I do the weird thing with you, and then once we're kind of over the shock, we can create something spectacular tomorrow. Once we're not like, oh my god, it's poo. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, it still creeps me out a little bit. Not creeps me out. It makes me a bit, what am I doing?
I mean, I think that's understandable. I think that's understandable.
Yeah, but I want to do something after that. Once we get over that, we can make something, but I don't know what.
Wow. I love it as a rite of passage, and I feel 1.5% better about it, knowing that you don't eat it. I was afraid to ask that question because when I went through the page, I saw a couple of videos that weren't from you but just were posts, yeah. And I was like, okay, so are we eating this afterwards? But I love that. I love the premise of, look, come to me on my weird, unique shit, and I'll go in exchange with you through your weird and unique shit. And you're right. Going to a religious service could be equally defined as out there. You know what I mean? As ridiculous or as what the fuck are you doing? It could be considered, you know,
What
to
you do
cook
with
your
those
own shit.
babies?
Right. You know,
Yeah.
but going to a service and shoving, like, it's weird. He's just shoving these babies in this tub of water, and we're all pointing in different directions and lighting candles. Like, I don't know that this is any more normal.
Yeah, it's
I like that premise. Come with me to mine, I'll go with you to yours. I like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I dig it. I definitely dig it. I mean, I think there's a natural aversion to this type of thing, which is one of the reasons why I could understand why somebody would approach it on purpose to try to destroy those aversions. But like you said, you said the first time was a little bit weird for you. That was the weirdest. So I'm guessing after the first time, you get it out of the way, you deal with all the silliness of it, and you're like, fuck it, let's just go with it. How long have you been into this?
It's coming up to a year now.
Only a year. Okay, well, so it's still fairly new. Still some things to figure out. Still some exploration to be done. That's wild. That's wild. So so after you prepare these things, what's happening to the dishes after you prepare them?
I just bin them or flush them down the toilet.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Okay.
It's one of the craziest thing is you cook it and it's got a particular, like, you do the giant crap. We've all crapped and then gone, oh, that smells terrible. But when you cook it, it doesn't smell that bad.
Oh my God.
And then when you go out into the real world, it's like you can smell that same smell elsewhere.
Oh no.
The smell of shit and flour, the same smell of shit and onions, the smell of shit and
oh
chicken.
My God, that's scary.
Yeah.
So after you make these dishes, you saying that you go out into the world and you get the familiar scent of what you've been doing in your own, sacred rituals.
Yeah, but it's. I always have the fear of, oh no, it's on me. It's in my pocket. It's on my clothes. But then it's like, it might have been 2 weeks since then, and I've had many showers since then. And I definitely know it's not me.
So it's like a local restaurant.
Smoking weed and going to work.
It was coming from a local restaurant and not from you.
I didn't mean to knock all the restaurants in Preston. I didn't mean to, but
it's like, we're on to you. We're on to you. The jig is up. We know what you're cooking back there. That is wild. That's wild. But there's a lot of people who explore this at a lot of different levels. Some people are going a lot farther than where you're going, clearly. I mean, I think I made it about 6 or 7 mouse scrolls down your page. When you roll the mouse wheel, I think I made it about 6 or 7 mouse wheel scrolls before I had to tap out, and I was like, all right, I'm good. I think I've seen enough. We're gonna have him on the show. We'll have a talk about it. But the page was a little jarring. It was a little, and it's not all about just cooking. There's obviously adult material on there. They're going a little bit deeper than just cooking. And like at this point, what you're doing is like the tip of the iceberg.
it is. That's the craziest thing. My current, I've just broke up with my last girlfriend and my current one before that because they were like, I can't do this. It's too weird. And I'm like, this isn't the weirdest thing on the internet
At all.
by far.
Right. Yes. It's
all.
extraordinarily mild relative to what's out there for sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, not even including like, do you see Wiki Deaths? Are you on the Wiki Deaths thing on Facebook?
No,
I watch murder mysteries
on Facebook.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Do I need to go to Facebook and search Wiki Deaths right now? I'm not going to do that.
It's a group.
Okay, go ahead.
If you join the group, you will see people just doing crazy things. MS-13 peeling faces, just mad.
I stopped watching those a long time ago, but I do watch a good murder mystery.
Murder mysteries are good.
Yeah, the scene, the cutting throats and stuff. It's like I don't really have a desire to do this to people, so I can't really watch this every day.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time.
Yeah.
I used to see I had some people who I loosely referred to as friends back in the day who would send me this shit unsolicited. They would just be like in the middle of regular messages. It'd be like, "Hey, what you doing today? Yeah, what's going on? Ha ha ha!" And then they send me a video link, and you click it, and it's some dude getting hit with a chainsaw or something. I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck did you just send me, bro?" But yeah, so I've definitely seen more than I wanted to. Especially, this shit never goes away. That's the thing about it. Once you see stuff like that,
just imagine that you're the one doing shit like that.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, it never goes away.
Come on.
So it must hurt your soul.
Oh yeah, it tears you to shreds. Especially if you keep consuming it. See, and this is the thing. Like, I think humans have a slippery slope coded into their DNA. I think almost anybody can sink into what the rest of society considers depravity if you open the door to it. Like, I think if you watch, say you're watching like, Cinemax adult entertainment. So nothing too crazy. They're not showing any penetration, but there's a lot of boobs, a lot of humping.
A lot of softcore.
A lot of softcore stuff, right? Eventually, you're going to want to take it to the next level. So then you start watching porn on the internet. So now you're watching these websites, you see it, and then eventually 6-7 months, a year down the line, you're watching some people get tied up, and maybe there's a question: is it really against their will, or did they consent? And then before you know it, there's blood on the floor. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? I think anybody can slide down that slippery slope if you allow yourself to keep consuming. Like any drug. The first time you drink 2 beers, you're smashed, right? If you keep doing this, a year later, you're going to need a half a bottle of whiskey to get to that same level of smash. So I think it's just coded into our DNA to go deeper and deeper into the rabbit's hole if we allow it.
I'm not sure. I get where you're coming from. I do. I'm not sure.
No, I think it could be wrong.
What are you not sure about exactly?
Because like when you have these people, the Facebook moderators, and some of them are suing because they had to watch that stuff, and they got depression and.
Well, see, that's the thing. Basically. well, I think. Okay, let me rephrase it. Right, it may not be with every topic or you might not go down every single rabbit hole, but I think we just have a natural propensity to just get deeper and deeper and deeper into the shit that we allow ourselves to get deeper into. So those people, when they see a cat getting hurt, they're like, oh, that's it. This is where I draw the line. We got to find this guy and arrest him. But there could be a whole nother sector of the internet where they get deep and dark and dirty. They don't see it the same as hurting an animal. You know what I mean? They just have different partitions in their brain. But I think we all kind of have it in us. That's why porn these days is not just for, regular. I remember the shit that I was looking at when I was a teenager. Like, you find your father's or your uncle's magazine under the bed or some shit like that. The stuff that was in the 70s, early 80s, Playboy mags and that kind of thing. That shit is like... That's the most vanilla. You could buy that in a candy store now. That's nothing. That is absolutely nothing.
Now they make this stuff suggestive because, like, sometimes when I go down the list and it's like stepdad porn, and then I'm like, that's like disturbing after, like, if you think about it.
Well, stepdad, that's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I mean, it can get a lot worse. It's pretty bad, and then you become a stepdad, and then you feel really.
That's what I'm saying.
You're like, oh.
No, stepdad's not that bad. They add the step.
Their siblings.
Yeah, they add it for the laws.
Kidnappings.
If there weren't laws as far as how they can operate, there wouldn't be stepsister gets stuck in the dryer. It wouldn't say stepsister.
Right.
It would just say my sister got stuck in the dryer. But they have a little bit of laws and shit that they got to follow, so they got to keep it, basically clean. And that's even recent. I remember not too long ago, there was something that came down the pipeline, and all of the major porn sites had to purge a lot of their videos.
There used to be kiddie porn back,
right?
Like way back in the day. Like X videos was one of them. Way back in the day, they had to clear up all their videos.
I think it was Pornhub that had that.
Yeah,
X videos too. It was all of them. It was all of them because they were just people were just uploading. Who's gonna sit there and watch like Twitter and Facebook and watch and rifle through all this stuff? No one's gonna if people are getting depressed for like throats getting cut off. Just imagine.
Right, and there was also a lot
getting smashed every day.
Like people who were being trafficked.
I don't know what the.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying people who were being trafficked. There was underage shit on there. There were people who were legit victims, and not. It wasn't like
they had to flood the whole.
Play.
A lot of videos disappeared.
Yeah, and they just took it all down. They took it all down when the court made a judgment. They took it all down like they had it filed separately. It didn't take them weeks to go through it and figure out like where are the bad videos. They were just all gone the next day.
Yeah, they weren't even gonna waste their time.
How did y'all find them all so quick if you didn't know they were there?
The bad ones.
Right. Yeah, something ain't right. But yeah, that's why they changed it, because something came down the pipeline.
Yeah.
But
to go back though on the poverty's sake, because like the stepdad may not be like a good example, but the one I think that you made a good example, because I think I see like two and I was like, I can't do this no more, is when like you see them getting tied up. And and this was like in the beginning stages of the internet for me, when I like found some like Japanese one and then they started questioning it. I'm like, this looks kind of real. I don't want to do this anymore.
When you hear the crying, you just stop tugging, and you're like, "What the fuck am I doing?" It's just crying. I don't know about the slippery slope. Like it's weird to me because I don't know that everyone has the capacity. I don't know what the X factor is, and there's nothing that I think that people would assume a lot of things, but I think they'd be wrong. Like, cause like for instance, I don't have a stomach for really much of any of that shit. Like I can't handle, beheadings, people getting their throat slit, seeing a person in a car accident. Like, I'm a bitch. I can't stomach any of that. But I feel like if me and Scat Chef were at a party, we were just at a party, he would be such a more likable social butterfly than me. You know what I mean? Like, people would find him way more charming, way more interesting to talk to. Like, I like that guy. You know what I mean? You would think that, like, because I'm an asshole, undeniably. I'm an asshole. I'm not very socially effective. But so it fascinates me of like, okay, we're both human beings. I wonder like what would give the distinction in a person, and maybe it's just maybe in America where we're all kind of just more squeamish in general. I don't know. We live a very sanitized, easy lifestyle.
A lot of our violence is on TV.
Rest of the world, we got violence on TV, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the X factor is that like you could stomach a lot of that stuff, but I couldn't. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's why I'm curious. Like if you had to ease into it, if you had a natural inclination to some stuff, or you watched certain stuff when you were younger, like violent videos or something like that, that maybe gave you, I don't know, like a higher tolerance. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or am I just ignorant? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Maybe you got to start earlier, or some people just have a predisposed. And maybe something is already wired specifically for you to go in that direction. It could just be like having a weird mom when you're young. That's the shit that makes serial killers, right? Like, you almost guaranteed to be a serial killer if you got a weird mom and she's doing crazy shit. She makes you wear high heels and shit. It's like, oh yeah, that guy's definitely going to be a serial killer. There's certain shit that has to happen at a certain age. Maybe, I don't know. But that's why I stay away from it for the most part, is because I feel like I just don't trust my ability to not just start to consume it like regular, because we've seen it. We've seen it like watching Faces of Death when you're young. Every generation that's born has a certain set of tools, right, to deal with the media that they're consuming. So when I was young, seeing some of the stuff that was in the horror movies available to us at the time looked extreme, right? It looked extreme, even though the effects weren't the best. It was like, but when we saw it as teenagers or whatever, we were like, holy shit. Now I just watched recently, I watched the latest iteration of The Evil Dead. That shit is a splatter fest, bro. It's like, it's so much more extreme than what I grew up with. I don't think it's as good as the one, of course, that's like my old man nostalgia. It's like, nope, the old ones are definitely better. But the shit they show in films and in everything now is just way more extreme. People just have access to so much more. I don't know, dude. I kind of try to stay away from it, especially real death stuff. I have no interest in real death. I don't need to see that at all.
I am very curious about. I watched this TED talk, and this woman was talking about how every 4-year-old and 5-year-old has been watching porn because they've all got phones and it's in their pocket and blah blah blah. But I don't know what that looks like when they turn 15 or when they turn 20. I need to find that study.
Well, I'll tell you this. What it does do is I saw a group of teenage boys being interviewed about how they feel about pubic hair on women. And they all said it's disgusting and you need to shave it. And if she's not shaved, they were showing clear, screw face discontent at the idea of pubic hair on a woman. Now, I know when I was that age, you're just happy to see a vagina. You don't really have stipulations like, oh, it better be shaved. You're like, how fucking dare you, bro? Like, are you seeing it that much? Right, 70s had Bush. So for a teenage boy to have stipulations about what kind of vagina he wants to be in the presence of, I think that tells you right there. It's like it sets an unrealistic standard in porn. So now girls, even at a younger age, feel like they have to do certain things to still be attractive to the boys in their age group, when in reality they could just be like, bro, take it or leave it. You want it or not. You know what I'm saying? But they have a bargaining chip, I guess, because of the social construct of what. And I'm sure at the time, okay, I'll say it like this. When I was 15, I'm sure there was probably some 28-year-old guy who preferred shaved vaginas. But 15-year-old boys didn't have time to quarrel about no goofy shit like that. Now that standard has trickled down to 15-year-old boys. So that's definitely something to pay attention to, in my opinion. I think, especially something that's natural, right? It's completely natural. They're demanding that something unnatural be done for them to be presented with the vagina. That's crazy to me.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's wild. That's fucking crazy. I don't understand it for the life of me. It's even with grown men. When grown men talk like that, I understand that you have a preference, but just say, I like this better. But when I hear people like, oh no, that's disgusting, I'm like, are you fucking really? Is that really your stance? It's disgusting. A woman in her natural, right? In her natural,
she's bad and beautiful. Then she just got a hairy bush, and you're turning it down. Like, you're lying to yourself.
Right? Yeah, that's.
See,
crazy.
I had the opposite experience as a teenage boy. I constantly had hair on my teeth. It was not a problem at all. I was happy to have it. And I met up with one chick, I think it was when I was about 17, and she shaved when I was with her, and I was never with her again. And I just remember it was weird to me. It looked weird. It wasn't as appealing, and I guess it's just all. There's probably certain things that fire in your mind. Your brain makes connections and associations with what you've seen and what you experienced already and what's normal. So I guess if you're constantly pushing into somebody's head that this is the normal, right, then anything you see aside from that is going to be completely weird. So I think if anything, like Scat was saying about the, a study, like what's it going to look like when 5-year-olds turn 20, that they've already seen all these things. It's just robbing you of your innocence and experience things naturally. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I remember being terrified the first time I came. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know if I was injured or I needed to see a doctor.
I knew right away. This is why condoms are useful.
Well, you had older brothers. I was the oldest, so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if I should alert an adult. I didn't know what was happening. But there's like this kind of mystery that you kind of figure out when you're dealing with the opposite sex, and you don't really have much information. You know what I mean? There's something about that experience that I don't know. I look back on it kind of like fondly, and I remember it being like the most exciting thing ever. There was never anything more exciting, And I think we've kind of robbed this next generation of kids and desensitized them from having that normal learning experience, because the internet's given away all the secrets about everything.
Right.
And then there's those books as well where they want to teach children about everything. They want to teach them about standing up and how to, go on Grindr and how to go to certain events and I get that. I get it. I get what it's like to want to look after someone, but you know, like you said, you're robbing them of these really exciting experiences.
Yeah, I think that's the worst part.
Over there in the UK with that curriculum, are you guys having all of that going over there too? Is there like any pushback or controversy over there with the school system?
I have no idea. I'm hearing about the stories in America, and they're way more exciting than the ones in the
UK. That's because the UK separates everything, right? It's just you're here for education, all that other stuff. You know,
there is still stuff
home,
going
right?
on. There is still stuff going on, like the whole mermaids thing, but I'm not paying attention to it as much, just because you see a thumbnail, and the American one's just way more crazy than.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's like you mean the Black Mermaid thing?
No, the mermaid. Oh, I'm really bad with like stories. I just remember. I want to say Mermaids is this UK organization that helped children to find out whether or not they wanted to transition and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
They called the name mermaids? Of the organization Mermaids.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think that one made it. Yeah, that's weird.
That's a good name.
But I'm terrible at remembering like details. Yeah.
So okay, so with our sensationalism and all the shit that goes on over here that's so exciting and salacious, what would you say would be the mirror image of that? What would you say is the hot button? What's the big topic for you guys over there?
You know what? If you asked me that 2 weeks ago, I would have known. But I went to a festival and I just didn't talk about politics for like a week. And I just feel like the world is so much brighter and there's so many more things going on.
Beautiful. This is the way. This is the way.
But I have been on Twitter and it's just so good. All the drama. It's exciting, it's interesting, it's just heavy. Yeah. But I don't know what's going on in England. Because even back 2 weeks ago when I was paying attention to everything, so little of it actually affected me. Like, actually, no, we're inflation. Everything, chocolate's more expensive, fish is more expensive. That's what's all I'm thinking about.
Right. Now, I think that's a real world grounded way to look at it, because that's something that affects everybody, not really equally, but I think even people, if you're doing your own shopping, put it that way, if you don't have somebody just shopping for you and bringing you the food and cooking it, if you're actually out in the world doing your own shopping, you're probably going to notice that the price things were 2 weeks ago is different than what they are now. So I think that's a really grounding, that might be the thing. I don't want to be too optimistic about it, but that might be the thing that actually starts to pull people together a little bit more, is because the way things are moving, especially when it comes to the economy, I feel like, I don't know, it's probably not the case, but I think there's an argument to be made for the governing body just being like masochistic. Like, how far can we push them before they storm our homes and tear us apart? Like, maybe they have a fetish to be eaten by a wild mob. So they're just going to keep fucking with people until you break in their house and tear them limb from limb and eat them, because that's technically what they really want deep down inside. Like, I saw a movie called Perfume about a French guy who was born. Matter of fact, let me find this trailer.
Was that the one where he was killing people and then making them like secrets? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so, and it's a super long movie, and I have a very low tolerance for period films, right? So if people are talking with a certain accent and they're wearing like old clothes, like, I'm pissed off right from the beginning and I don't want to watch it. So it's got to be a really good movie if it's a period film and I enjoy it. So let me pull this up on the screen so everybody can take a look at it while I'm talking about it. But so this movie is called Perfume, and what is it? The subtitle is The Story of a Murderer. And it's a guy who was born with this crazy ability to his scent, his smelling ability was like super heightened. So he could smell shit from the time he was a baby. He could smell shit from a mile away that other people weren't really aware of. So as he gets older, of course, he starts to smell people and things and women, and he gets obsessed with women because of their scent, and he ends up being a apprentice to a person who makes perfume because he has such a good nose. Eventually, he realizes that he can capture the essence of almost anybody. Spoiler alert, this movie came out in 2006, so I'm going to do a little bit of spoiling here, but there's a lot of twists and turns in the film, but in the end of the movie, they want to convict him because he starts to kill people to extract their essence and make perfumes out of women's essence and inspire love and lust in people and shit like that. And he's able to do it successfully because he knows the notes of the smell so well. He can inspire people. At the end of the movie, he decides, like, I'm not going to be able to escape the crimes that I've committed. I'm not going to be able to I'm not doing any time in jail, so fuck that. So what he does is he makes a perfume that inspires people to be so lustful, so engulfed by their own lust that they would attack anything. So he puts like a drop of the perfume on a handkerchief and he waves it in the air in a town square. And just that little bit of scent in the air made everybody in town have an orgy. He put a few drops on a handkerchief and like swung the handkerchief in the air and everybody had an orgy. So that tells you how strong it is. So he takes that same perfume at the end of the movie to escape his fate. He just pours the whole bottle on his own head. And the whole town bum rushed him, ripped him, tore him limb from limb, killed him, and ate him. And that was it. It was done. I don't have to go to jail. And he did it on purpose. He was like, yo, just come and take me. Have me, consume me. And I'm kind of thinking, and I'm saying that to say...
Alan Rickman, Dustin Hoffman, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying that to say I kind of think that might be what's going on with the government. Maybe they have a fantasy of being consumed and graped until they can't survive. And maybe that's it. But they're definitely putting people through some serious pressure right now. And a lot of people are feeling it. There's a lot of strikes going on. I see people are trying to initiate a complete strike. Like nobody goes to work September 1st. I mean, I highly doubt that people are going to actually...
That ain't happening in America.
Yeah, nobody's going to do that. I mean, some people might. Some people might. But then they're going to go back to work.
The people who might already call off.
Right. Yeah, the people who already have terrible attendance at work are definitely going to take off September 1st, but I don't think anybody else will. But that's pretty amazing. The thing that they tell us is the hot button topic in the UK is the influx of Muslims and migrants. That's what they're telling us, is tearing everything apart, and that's what the entire UK and everybody over there is in fear of the most, is the Muslim invasion.
I wouldn't say... Okay, so there's two invasions. There's the videos of the boats. That's absolutely happening. But I mean, I don't know. They're not coming to my town. I don't know where they are. I've heard of them.
I definitely heard of them.
Not in my neighborhood.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's good for me and my neighbours. But there is something else that's happening, and I would like to talk to. I've not actually spoken to anyone about this properly because I don't want to say it up work because it's not a bad thing to say. It's just okay. So in England, the care industry has been under a lot of pressure for a while because lots of people don't want to be support workers. So there are organizations that are in Nigeria and they say, hey, if you're in Nigeria, we can work something out where you can come to England. And so loads of Nigerians, hardworking Nigerians, have paid thousands, each person I've spoken to has spent maybe between 6,000 and 10,000 to bring themselves and their families to the UK. Because they see this as it's not even that they see it as an opportunity. So many people in England don't want to be support workers, and fair enough. I get where they're coming from.
And I don't mean to interject, I'm sorry. So when you say a support worker, you mean like a healthcare worker?
Someone
in medical services? Yeah.
Yeah. Like
people that help old rich people.
Oh, no, they're not rich.
Well, they're rich enough because Poor people love.
Well, no, in England, you guys have socialized medicine, so everybody gets that same service if they need it, like in-home healthcare.
Yeah.
But not everybody wants to help people. Not it's a hard business.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of people don't like it, and I'm speaking to people individually. I get it. I'm not judging them for not wanting them to be support workers. But I had a job where there were so many hours. I could just go in, be like, oh, okay, I want to work Monday, I want to work Wednesday, I want to work Friday, and there'd always be hours. But now there's loads of Nigerians coming in the droves, and they're taking all the jobs. I can't work.
So, and what is like what's the level
You're not
of
gonna
difficulty?
beat that workforce either.
What's the level of difficulty for this job? So, are the people who are coming over, are they already trained in this, or is it just like an entry level thing?
Listen, the Nigerians have taken over. If you're taking care of a bunch of assholes, the Nigerians are not going.
No, they're nice.
They're gonna
people.
pull that.
They're lovely.
Yeah,
people.
they're nice people, but when no one's looking good, they're gonna threaten that man.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're really nice people. They work really hard. They come in on time, and they don't spend all their money on alcohol. No one comes into work.
But it's a job. It's a job and opportunity for a group of people who at home nothing's working out for them. So now you're providing them a work and money, and they could live in a better livelihood. So
it gets even crazier than that because so many people that I've spoken to, they've got degrees in Nigeria. They've got amazing lives in Nigeria. I met this one guy. He's an engineer, and he had a chauffeur, and he had a chef, and all this. But then the gun crime is so bad in Nigeria that they're like, fuck that, I can't. One woman, she had a child, and then they got robbed at gunpoint in the house. I didn't ask if they're AKs, but this other
definitely
guy...
Definitely AKs.
Yeah.
Serious guns. There's a lot of fear in Nigeria. And so
but that's the third world country, though. Like, you can make your money in the first world, because I'm Haitian. Like, it's crazy right now, too, in Haiti. But it's because, like, what do you expect is gonna... Because this is the government's issue way to solve problems is let's give these gangsters the guns and they could work for us. But like when you give too many people guns, what do you think's gonna happen after the fact?
Yeah.
So like, it is what it is when the government is giving all these people guns and there is like no control over these people and you're not really helping these people. You know, what do you think is gonna happen? But
wait, is this Nigeria? The government's giving people guns.
I can't speak for Nigeria, but I can't speak for Haiti. That's how they do it.
Okay.
Like, it's a political thing, though. So, like, basically, it's like this. Like, if you want to be a politician, right, you need votes, right? So it's just like America. You have this section, that section, this section. So what the politicians do is they'll give this group of people guns, and they'll, like, you know, kick the people out of this section or tell them you're going to vote for this group of people. So that's just basically what it is and how people get into power.
Yeah, very similar to what happened in Jamaica. They did the same thing in Jamaica.
Jamaica does the same thing, yeah.
Same thing. They just do it with the iron fist. They make sure to secure the communities. And so when the votes come in, everything is already secured by the gangsters. You know which way you're going to vote or else. Yep. But that is wild. But, I mean, I guess that seems... I could see why that would be an issue as far as Nigerians or people taking the healthcare jobs. But if it was already a job that people didn't want to do in the first place, but it does kind of suck for the people who do want to be active, who can't find the hours and shit like that now. But that's definitely not as insidious as the invasion that's being fed to us over here. The perspective that's being shown to us. Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's not like people are just saying it in an article or something like that. They're definitely showing a lot of footage of, like, you know, the Muslim guys doing that dance in the street where they slap themselves on the chest and shit. And they're like, you know, this was an all-white neighborhood 2 years ago. And it's just 500 Muslim guys standing outside slapping themselves on the chest and Allahu Akbar type shit. So it can look a little weird, but, I mean, I guess healthcare is a whole different hustle. That's a different struggle.
Wait, is that in America? There's Muslims slapping themselves on the chest.
Oh, no, they're not doing that shit over here.
Oh, they can't. It's too far.
Yeah.
You can't do that shit here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, they're not doing that shit here. They're doing it over there.
We got Mexicans and Haitians. And...
Yeah, I saw Alex Jones. What was it? Maybe a year and a half ago. Oh, they covered over as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're the worst. We need to build that north wall immediately.
Report Tory Lane.
Are you talking about like the on Alex Jones, like the caravan coverage?
Yeah,
from South America.
That's crazy.
That was legit.
As soon as like the my personal favorite one was Joe Biden. As soon as Joe Biden won, all the Haitians in Mexico got together and went to the border because somebody told them he was gonna help.
Oh no, dude! There's a whole network of the cartels actually advertising on like YouTube and TikTok of how to smuggle you into the U.S. like in all the points of contact, and that's why we're not seeing just like South Americans at the border. We're seeing people from Africa, people from the Middle East, like all over the world. Like they've built a new, basically a people smuggling business now. Like if you want to get into America, and a lot of times they're getting robbed. Like there was families, they came with their whole life savings, and the cartel took everything. Like, oh yeah, $5,000 will get you in. Oh, you got 30? Cool, it's actually 30. And what are you gonna do? You're in a completely different country and at the mercy of dudes with guns. You know what I mean? Who are conducting illegal activities. It's not like you can appeal to them to be honorable. But yeah, there's a whole network of cartels that are bringing people in from all over the world. And there was a couple where it was like tens of thousands of people at once. And so we've had a couple of instances on that southern border where, I mean, there's just thousands and thousands of people like running across at once, and the patrol can't stop them all, and they have like huge detention centers and everything. Like it's wild. There's ostensibly no border on the southern part of the United States. Like if you wanted to become an American citizen, you could fly to North Mexico and just walk through. Nobody would stop you. If you were looking for healthcare work in America, you'd have no problem.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a video that I saw on Twitter recently. It just popped up just now. So if you had to look at this video, right, and guess where it was taking place, what would be your guess? Let me make sure everybody can see this on the stream too. So if you had to look at this video and guess where it was taking place, where would you guess? So these are some people that somebody's getting bullied, somebody's taking the purse. You see somebody go for the purse right there. Look, give me the purse. Somebody's getting beat up. Yeah. A lot of that activity right there. And this is happening a lot. So where would you say that was taking place at if you had to guess?
Is that London?
Yeah, I heard proper English in there.
This is the Netherlands.
Oh shit.
Right. So you could see this in any
bro, is bad.
Any hood in Chicago, any place where there's a whole bunch of poor people at, you could see this type of activity. But the idea is that in the Netherlands were safe not too long ago. This wasn't happening there. Like, I don't know how true that is. Maybe it was a bunch of like long-haired, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people was beating the shit out of each other too, and we just never saw the footage. But now that all of this migrant activity is happening, it's starting to bleed over into these other communities that were fairly safe before, and that's what people are complaining about the most. I mean, like I said, I don't know how true it is because we don't get a full spectrum of what's been happening there versus what's happening now, but it looks kind of crazy. Someone in the comments said Detroit. Exactly, this could be happening in Detroit, but it's in the Netherlands. So I could definitely understand why people in the Netherlands are like, what the fuck?
But it's petty shit, though, man.
Yeah.
Like, migrants come together and they live somewhere, and then it's just like the most petty shit.
Well, it's because they're bringing all of their trauma, all of their issues. There's not a social program where they're going to go to learn to integrate. And matter of fact, some of them feel like they shouldn't have to integrate because wherever I'm at is my homeland. So they'll come there and they'll just do exactly what they've been doing. And a lot of that shit there's a lot of trauma involved. There's a lot of aggression involved. So people are just doing some bugged out shit. So little boys, with a Belgian boy getting beat up on a train and forced to bow down to Moroccan thugs, they call them, Moroccan thugs. So these people didn't live in Belgium not too long ago, and now they come to Belgium in huge numbers, and they decide to find a white kid on a train and make him kiss their shoes. Now they're just beating them up and making them kiss their shoes. And if you watch the Hebrew Israelites in America, you don't have to force. Yeah, you don't have to force people to kiss your shoes. All you got to do is read from the Bible, and they'll do it by themselves. So yeah, this sucks. For a place, I won't even just talk about. See, a lot of these people are talking about it from the perspective of whiteness, and it's not necessarily about whiteness, in my opinion. But if you're safe in your country, right? If you're chilling and everybody's getting along and women are walking cows down the street and singing songs and shit like that, and then a bunch of people show up from another place and start whooping your ass and making you kiss their feet, that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. So I could definitely see why you'd be upset with that.
Can you not exactly why there'll be another Hitler's? Like, we were sitting here chilling, cows.
Right.
Music playing. These motherfuckers just coming.
One day I go outside, I see a beautiful woman playing the flute with her cow. The next day I see a bunch of shirtless Muslims slapping themselves on the chest, and they made me kiss their feet. I don't like where this is going. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
Yeah, right. I don't think there's anybody in the world who's gonna like that. It's not like you're bringing some new level of love and compassion, and we're all gonna get along. It's like, nah, we're gonna fuck you up. We're gonna change your laws here. And they brag about it. They talk about how Sharia law is taking over, and how there's more Muslims than there are. You're like, our numbers. People are recording these arguments in the street. There's 50 guys standing outside like, yeah, we outnumber you now. Like, this is going to make somebody want to just drop some bombs on y'all, bro. Not that that's what should happen.
Right. No. But because the thing is that it's a hard needle to thread, because we all know, and a lot of us come from families that 4 or 5 generations weren't in the land that we're in now, and we've assimilated, we've built a life, we have our communities, right? And like Chef was saying, right? Like, hey, I mean, yeah, it sucks my hours are getting cut, but a lot of these Nigerians, they're hardworking, they're lovely people, I enjoy their company, good hardworking people, no problem. The government knows that there's limits, like a stress test kind of deal. Like, there's limits to what the system could sustain. And if you don't bring people in an orderly way, in a way to where you're not adding shock to the system, it's kind of like if you change your body temperature too quickly, you'll have a heart attack, right? You can't gradually go from really, really hot to really, really cold, right? It's a shock to the system. Like, over time, yes, people can assimilate and become great neighbors and great pillars of the community. We can all get along. We can all share space together peacefully. And I think at the heart of it, at the end of the day, I think that's what most people want to do. So it's tough, because you don't want to call, a lot of these people just get, dismissed as xenophobic. Oh, well, you just hate immigrants. Well, no, I don't think that they just hate immigrants. But like you said, when it's a situation where people are coming in too large of numbers and they're changing the dynamic of the place that they're going to, not assimilating into it. Like you said, look, we already got our flute system and we call the cows a certain way. It's a lovely system we've developed. If you just come in and you don't integrate into it to where you're doing things the same way, but you're establishing your way of doing things, and in a lot of ways it's contrary, you're going to have this kind of conflict. And I think that these governments have enough data over the decades to know that. So that's where I would agree with you. I do feel like they're dumping perfumes on their head. You know this is going to cause destabilization, and most people at the end of the day are decent, and they don't want to just hate people because they're different. I don't think that represents the majority of people, but because there's been such a shock to the system, I think it's almost intentional that and the internet helps tremendously, to drum up this like animosity and friction between people, you know? When look, we know people got to eat, we know people got to get work, you know, we know people are coming from other countries, living a better life, but if we just keep opening the floodgates anywhere, and it does seem odd that it feels like it's being systematically done all over the place. Like, you know, England and America, two totally different political systems, right? I mean, they're not under the same, you know, kind of government or whatever, but you see them dealing with exactly the same issues. So it's just odd. It does feel like there's a concerted effort to kind of rile up animosity in all of these places by introducing these shocks to the system, you know? And you can't just,
I think LA does a perfect job too of showing how it doesn't work, because there's like plenty of communities where you have like Ecuadorians and like Southeast Asians together, and they're both like Bloods and Crips. It's like clearly you didn't know like this was gonna end up happening in the long run.
Or they did know. I think we all accepted at this point that that California is an experiment in accelerationism. I think they're just going to keep giving them more needles, more drugs. They're going to bring in more people until it all implodes and they all kill each other. And the people who can afford to leave will leave. And then once it's a desolate, you know, post-apocalyptic wasteland, then the investors will come in and buy everything up for pennies on the dollar, and they'll build a new utopia. And they'll build it on the burial ground of all the homeless drug addicts that used to live there. I'm pretty sure that fuels, like if you build a business building on top of a bunch of dead homeless people, I think you'll get better sales percentages.
Oh, the land will be cheap.
Yeah, and you're guaranteed success. I mean, that's like, you know, old African proverb. You know, you if you want to make a business successful, you bury albino body parts under the foundation. So it's like the same thing. It's like in California, homeless drug addicts, they put your productivity will be through the roof if you build on top of those guys. I think that's just what's happening in California, in my opinion. Until somebody can show me a different plan or a different idea, set of statistics or mathematics that makes sense. But I don't understand how it could be considered harm reduction to give drug addicts clean needles but not give them a program to get them off drugs. Just give them a fucking kit that they can get high with. Like that doesn't seem like harm reduction to me. It seems like acceleration. It's like hurry up and kill yourself. You know, we're going to say we did something. We're going to launder some money. We're going to say it cost us $400 million to give out these fucking heroin kits when it only cost us about $80,000. And then we'll pocket the rest and we'll pass them out and you guys can go ahead and overdose. You know, we'll see you in a few years when we buy all this property.
Give them a job in Alaska. And then, you know, those that die out. Because they can't live like that in Alaska.
Yeah, ain't nobody doing shit in Alaska anyway, right? They ain't really doing nothing anyway. Alaska's
saying like build a big ass warehouse that just it manufactures whatever, or they just help deliver shit.
You guys don't have a homeless drug problem in the UK, do you?
We do a little bit, but it's not that bad. Like in
like you don't have camps. Like there's not
like entire tent cities on a whole block.
Nah, you'll see the odd tent. And there was this guy who worked in Manchester for a long time, and he was talking about how he spoke to a lot of homeless people, and there's so many opportunities for them to eat and get housing. And I mean, I don't know if there's enough housing, but there's a lot of people just want to be on the street to do drugs, and you know,
it's easier to just get a tent and get fed by the government.
Yeah.
What's the drug of choice over there? Do you know? Like.
Oh, sorry about that.
These
I'm
are the
trying to keep these muted so I can show some footage while we're talking about this. But yeah, go ahead. What did you say? What's the drug of choice over where you are?
No, I have no idea. I mean, I can't even say because I don't really speak to them. It's not like everyone smells of weed, or it's not like everyone's leaving baggies everywhere. It's just
in America, you're portrayed as drillers and stabbers.
Oh, that's London.
That's how we see. Yeah, that's how we see all of England is basically. It's like we all feel like there's a huge stabbing issue going on all over England.
Like the characters from a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah,
you know, like Brick Top and all like all the gangsters and a lot of stabbings. That's what we hear. There's a lot of
that's
knife
our
work.
vision of England. So
a lot of knife
like
work over there.
I kind of live in the part like it's all countryside. I live in a lot of countryside and
so you live in the good
seagulls.
part, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice, quiet.
In America, you would be considered you're living in the Republican South.
Yeah, that's horrible, but it's true. It's true, but it's good that you're able to be sort of detached from the biggest issues and the biggest problems. And like you said, just not talking about politics changes your whole perspective and experience on life. Just choosing to not be connected to that shit and not bring it up and not talk about it, that changes everything. So that also proves, I think, in my opinion, that it's not as bad as a lot of the media streams would have you believe. Because if you can just detach from it by not talking about it and your experience gets better, that tells you it can't be as bad as they're saying it is.
No, it's not. It's not as bad. Things are still happening. But it's not.
Right, that's just the human condition, right? There's no perfect place other than the place where the white ladies are singing to the cows and playing flutes. Like that place seems pretty perfect. Like I don't know what else is going on behind the scenes. Maybe there's a lot of wife beating. There could be a bunch of kids disappearing, like Pied Piper shit. I don't know, but that video I saw of her calling the cows made it seem like the perfect place to exist in. I don't even want to go there because I don't want them to think I'm gonna come ruin it. They cultivated that, and they deserve to have it to themselves. The best I'm willing to do is try to cultivate my own where I already am. But that shit was pretty amazing.
And pay them some consulting fees.
Right, there you go.
How do you get the cows to come like that? How did you do it?
I work near some cows. I can find some white women and flutes and get you some videos.
Listen, I would love for you to get us some videos of the white. I forget what it was called. The woman calling cows. I'm going to see if I can find it. There it is right there. It's called culling, right? This is a Swedish herding call. Tell me, there could be horrible shit going on 300 yards from her, and that's a reality I'm willing to deal with. But I'm just saying, this seems like a pretty fucking perfect place to exist in.
Miles from that is a group of Somalians beating up a
That's horrible, but you're probably right. If they ain't there already, they're on their way. That's amazing, bro. Imagine waking up to that. You hear, oh, that's her calling the cows over there again. And then you just eat some cool breakfast, probably oatmeal or something. They seem like they eat a lot of oatmeal over there. It seems like a place that you would eat porridge or something every morning. I don't know, but it looks pretty awesome.
Got time to season, bro. They're dunking out here.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It would suck if this is your life, and then a year from now you're getting assaulted in the street by people who just got here off a boat. That would suck. That would suck.
It's like 1 year ago. It was just okay to walk down this street.
Right.
What the hell just went down?
That would suck. And also, it would suck, and I couldn't really blame you if you latch on to the most base reality of what's happening. I don't expect you to, as a person who's experienced both sides of this, right? You hear her calling one day, and a week later you're getting sucker punched at the grocery store by some migrants. I don't expect you to say, oh, it's a culture shock and they're bringing their traumatic experiences for... You're going to be like, yo, these fucking brown people.
Yeah.
Like, I would get it. I can't even be mad at you for coming to that conclusion. Because you know why? If a bunch of white Vikings showed up over here where we were culling our cows and started beating our ass, we wouldn't be like, oh, maybe they're bringing their generational trauma. We'd be like, these fucking white people are destroying everything that we built. That's exactly what you would do because you're angry. You don't have time to rationalize it and philosophize. No, we don't have time for that. Look, they're white. They're terrible. That's all we would have to say. So I completely understand it. So I gotta kind of look past that when I'm looking at the news and people talking about what's happening in these migrant countries and complaining about multiculturalism. I mean, as far as their experience goes, they're right. They had a nice homogenous situation going on, and then some people showed up and kicked it in the balls.
I think there's an alternative timeline somewhere in the multiverse where black people refuse to wear dreads for precisely that reason.
Because
they had a perfect utopia, and these dreaded Vikings just showed up and started bashing them over the head with shields. And they're like, fuck that. We want nothing to do with that hairstyle. I can see that.
Yeah. That's definitely... I think there's a lot of cool shit in the multiverse where you flip the races and change some of the experiences. It would definitely be worth making. I think we need our own Black Mirror Netflix thing where all we do is explore the effects of race swapping in the multiverse. Like, what if Hitler was black? You know? It's right. You see what I'm saying? It's worth it.
That would work out. I'll believe that.
Wait a minute.
Black with a blonde mustache.
I already love that supervillain. I need Miss Journey to give me a black Hitler with a bleached blonde mustache.
I like it. And like and he has like one hazel eye or some shit.
Like Wesley Snipes in Time Cop. I see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I see it.
Yeah, I like that. But I think there's a lot of race swap possibility in the multiverse that's unfarmed. And I just don't think people want to see it because they'd be upset about it. I think black folks in general would love to see the first half of an episode about if slavery was reversed. They want to see the first half.
What Charleston White said? He said the niggas wouldn't even give him education.
Right, they wouldn't get... No, it'd have been worse. It'd have been worse. So I think they would enjoy the first half of it. Seeing the white people get whipped and the slave master going and taking the white guy's wife to the back the quarters and all of that kind of shit. But when it came time for the white people to have an uprising, Negroes would lose their shit. They don't want to see that at all. They wouldn't want to watch a white uprising. But I think they'd watch the first half of the episode with big smiles. I could be wrong.
Oh, dude,
I can see that.
White Jethro Turner. Can you imagine? 80% of the victims are babies. Yeah, you were cheering for Birth of a Nation. And now you got to see the alternative visual. I think the closest visual was The Far Side. The Far Side did it on Running. You remember that video?
Yeah.
They had the white people pouring their mint juleps on a plantation. They were in really nice suits. But no one's ever actually fully mined that.
No, I think that would be some cool, because it's going to, about halfway through the episode, you're going to get pissed off. Because as soon as you start seeing the white people plotting and they're singing Anglo spirituals with coded language in it, you're going to be like, you know what? I don't like where this is going.
And it sounds like the cow calling song.
And they're planning to cut Master's head off. Yeah, they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it. And I think that's the way to explore this shit, is you got to be able to piss everybody off. Like with the first half you're going to like, but the second half you ain't going to like it at all. And that's the only way to do it and stay safe. But I think there's an entire universe to mine in there. It have to be, it's Black Mirror spinoff, but all it deals with is race swapping. I like it. I think that's a good idea. But yeah, man, I think we went, what did we do today? We did an hour and a half today. Hour and 47. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. But I think we're going to wrap it up. This was an excellent conversation. We absolutely appreciate Scat Chef for coming on and being a guest with us here today. We love talking with you. I think you gave us some really good jewels. Before we even started the show, we were talking about how this was going to be a lesson. We talk about all the time how, we refer to ourselves as a cult, and the main reason we do that is because of the etymology of the word cult is to pay reverence to, and it's like the same root as the word cultivate and culture, and nobody thinks those words are bad, but if you just shorten it down to cult, everybody gets a shiver down their spine. But we're reclaiming it. So
I like that.
When it comes to cults, I think this is what most of us are doing anyway. We just don't like the word and the association. When we surround ourselves with people who have like minds and people who share our sensibilities, we have our own little cults. Political parties are cults. Definitely the people who go to sports games and are totally willing to whoop your ass if you got the wrong color shirt on. That's definitely a cult. Homeowners associations are cults. It's all kinds of shit.
Oh yeah, HOAs.
Yeah, all kinds of shit. And the people, they go by the laws and rules and regulations, and they don't ask any questions, and they're never going to let you convince them otherwise. So the way we construct our stuff is that we build our wall around our property and we mind our business. We're not judging our neighbors for how you decide to organize your cult. That's completely up to you, right? As long as nobody is trying to hop the fence and force us to deal with what you're dealing with, or, you know, if we have equal and honest exchanges, I think everything could be beautiful. And I thought that was this lesson was going to be here today. And it really wasn't even as much of a task as I thought it was going to be. Because, you walking into this, we're like, holy shit, how are we going to talk about this stuff? Like, where is this conversation going? But I think I think the points that you made at the beginning about meeting people in their absurdity or in whatever it is that they're doing that seems weird, just to shake it all off, get through it all, get past it, and then find some common ground with each other. I think that's a powerful point, and I think that's something that we can definitely add to our compendium of ethics. So we appreciate you bringing us those points of view. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm just so happy to be here for a minute because I've been watching you guys for ages.
That's awesome.
Oh man, talking to you is amazing.
That's awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I love the way he framed it as a rite of passage. I could totally see that as being the blueprint in the new world. Is we're not forced to live in tension with, or at odds with each other, but we can have intentional communities and we can build bridges. Even if we're in separate communities, I love the idea of, let's visit with each other. Like, you take my rite of passage, I take your rite of passage, and we both gain a better and deeper understanding from one another. I think that's an incredibly high ideal. That's definitely compendium worthy, without a doubt.
Yeah, and what it does also is it cripples the people who are outside of both of our combines, or people who are outside who would try to use these perceived differences to play us against each other. Right? They'll be like, yeah, these guys over here don't grow organic food, and you guys only grow organic, so you should hate them. And that's the game that's been at play here for a very, very long time. The ruling class of people, the elite, so-called elite class of people, they exploit those differences. These people wear green, those people wear red, you should hate each other. And then the people who wear green and the people who wear red uphold it for generations. They teach it to their children, and very few people question it. And when you do question it, you run the risk of being ousted from either society. So I think the fact that we can respect each other and build our compounds right next to each other, and from the outside looking in, people would think that they could play us against each other, but they can't, because we've already shared in our rites of passage. We already have an understanding, and it's like a fractal. It's the flower of life. These communities look separate, but they have overlapping concentric circles that join us all together. And I think that's the point of building your cult anyway, is because there's always going to be a gradient in between. I think you have to work really hard at being closed-minded and ignorant to not find any common ground with your neighbors or people who operate in a different way than you. You'd have to just be committed to ignorance. I think if you're committed to being authentic and building something greater, building with compassion instead of fear, I think it's going to be really easy to find common ground in places that we all overlap. And that's what we build on. I have my place, you have your place, and then we have this this easement in between where we can meet at every now and then. We can share ideas, we can trade things and all of that other kind of stuff, while still respecting the boundaries that we set for our own spaces. And I think that's awesome. And I definitely learned a lot. And like I said, again, I appreciate you coming on. It was a great conversation.
That was beautiful. I think the next step is I'm going to find all the immigrants and we're going to bond by doing a big group gourmet scat chefing extravaganza.
Well, definitely keep us posted on how that develops, because this is something that I'm interested in. I think maybe if you get a chance to come on again in the near future, I'd like to talk a little bit more about the community, the people that you've met, like how has this changed your life? We didn't really get into the deepness of all of that, but hopefully we can get you on again and talk about, from the core of what you started experimenting with versus how it's influenced your life and your surroundings and relationships and shit like that. I definitely would like to talk more about that if you get time to come on again.
That'll be sweet.
Awesome. So yeah, we're gonna get out of here. As usual, I appreciate you brothers for making time. And again, this has been the Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen, the greatest think tank ever assembled. No debate. If you don't think so, feel free to contact us on Twitter. The links are in the description. And come here and stand on your square. There's always room for respectful discourse.
Link me niggas to infract too. I'm on the guard.
Let's get it. So y'all enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Peace.
Peace.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely. Tomorrow.